Welcome to another podcast for III Facts. And today we have a very special company that we're working with, an innovative product that's brand new to the industry, and that's ALO. And Jeremy, tell us a little bit about, as president, how you got started. How did this all happen?
Yeah, great question, Lou. Great to see you. Thanks very much
See
for
you.
having us. Um, so, my co-founder Ross and I, we got put together. Ross had come up with this idea because he previously had founded a company in the live events and performing arts ticketing space. So he had been around, entertainment venues, and really seen this uh, challenge of operating, of communicating, of collaborating, everything being very manual in terms of communication primarily via radios, logging issues, responding to incidents in a very manual fashion, uh, and thought there's a way. He's an engineer. There's a way to solve this with technology. He and I got put together. My background is I've founded or been involved in building a number of startups across a variety of industries, ad tech, cybersecurity, health insurance. Just love building new companies and helping industries. And we saw that this was an industry that really had an opportunity to be revolutionized with technology. And the other aspect of my background, because you'll see when we talk about ALO that there's a lot about communication.
Yeah.
I'm fluent in French. I studied in a bilingual school growing up. I've lived abroad. And so this idea of streamlining communications in these type of facilities really spoke to me.
Yeah, that is a perfect, actually perfect for you, really perfect timing too. So maybe for the viewers in our sports and entertainment industry, can you describe the product itself so they get an early feel of it?
Yeah, let me give you two things here. One is just, what we're trying to do here. We really think we're revolutionizing how we call them high traffic public facilities. So these would be, sports and entertainment venues, stadiums, arenas, but it's campuses, it's malls, it's airports, it's zoos and aquariums, anywhere where you've got a large number of customers having an experience, and you need to serve them, you need to keep them safe, you need to give them a great experience. Really trying to change how you can run those venues with automation, with AI, with intelligence, with data. And so what ALO is, we call ourselves the first true operating system for, in our case, sports and entertainment venues, because what we're doing is putting together all the tools you need to run venues and events in one system. So that is communicating with guests, that is staff communication. ALO is truly a communication platform. It is all the incident management and dispatch capabilities, facility maintenance, and even video surveillance, all in one software platform that runs across any device that you want, whether it be a mobile device, a tablet, a computer, really built for, call it deskless workers who are working and running these venues.
I think it's a great innovative product because if you look at command centers today, et cetera, they want that one platform if they could get it to accommodate what you're saying. So, where is Allo implemented right now?
Yeah, so we're implemented across a variety of venues, like we talked about. We're in some stadiums and arenas. Some examples would be Nebraska's Memorial Stadium, football stadium, FC Cincinnati's TQL Stadium, the Oakland Coliseum, where the Oakland A's play. Also in some arenas, Dickies Arena down in Fort Worth. They actually were named the um, number one mid-sized arena in the U.S. by revenue by Billboard magazine a couple years ago. A bunch of college campuses, arenas, but also uh, um, some college campuses Columbia University in New York City, for example, and even some zoos and convention centers. So really pretty broadly being used.
Very good. Now, the Institute works very closely with the industry on the fan experience journey, if you call it that way. How can ALO impact the different touch points along the way? How does that work?
No, it's a great question because we think a lot about what does ALO do for a venue, and
Yeah.
certainly one of them is providing an exceptional fan experience or guest experience in a variety of different ways. Certainly, the baseline is you have to provide excellent safety for your fans. That's kind of the baseline. And so there's a lot sort of behind the scenes of making sure that your security team is communicating well with your medical, with your housekeeping, with your guest services, et cetera. But directly to the fans, one, it gives the fans a voice, right? They have the ability to very easily report issues in the venue, get it to people that can solve that issue, including with intelligence and AI to get it directly to the people doing the work so you improve your response time dramatically, but also with inclusivity. So ALO supports real-time language translation in 99 different languages. So we can automatically, if you got a fan, I think about things like the World Cup coming up. If you have got a fan that doesn't speak the language in the country, they can submit an issue in their language. We'll automatically translate it, get it to the staff who can solve that issue, and resolve that issue very quickly. And these are all in digital ways that fans are very familiar with: scanning a QR code, texting a phone number that's published, engaging in a chat, using the mobile app of the venue. And the key thing is, number one, you don't want to take away the fans' enjoyment of the event because they have to go do something to have an issue solved, right? If there's a fan behavior issue in their section, you don't want them to have to go find somebody. And World Cup, great example. You missed that one goal in the game, your experience is ruined, right?
It's
Um,
true.
but you also want them to be able to give feedback while they're in the venue. You want them to be able to make requests, report issues, and get them solved quickly, because that's really how you have a great experience for a fan. And this is a fan in any seat, but it's also in your premium areas, right? You want them to have, with ALO, if they report any issue or any request, you want it to go right to the person that can solve that issue very quickly so that their experience is top notch.
Yeah. You're right on top of your game, and certainly impacts what we're doing every day. And it was beautiful. What are other powerful use cases that we could describe to the audience in our industry that you've accomplished?
Oh, there are so many,
Yeah.
because of the way we've designed ALO to be this comprehensive solution that really gives you being the venue manager, the visibility of everything that's going on in your venue without having to. I mean, sort of the state of the art today is you have to sort of stay on top of all the radio communication and there's a lot of ad hoc communication of, somebody calling the GM or the head of security, letting them know something that's going on. We put that all in one platform. All of the incidents that are created, we automatically essentially write the incident report because your staff is communicating about those incidents in ALO. All of that communication gets associated with the incident. All of the video from your surveillance system, because we're integrated with your CCTV or your video surveillance system, all those clips of what happened can be associated with that incident. You can have alerts for certain types of incidents or certain keywords kicked to key leadership. You really have this incredible both real-time visibility of what's happening so you can respond appropriately, but also documentation down the road. As the lawsuits or insurance issues are pretty commonplace, and you really need to have that documentation to protect yourself, or to respond appropriately, whether that's just a fan recovery action, or filing an insurance claim, or down the road. And a lot of times, when that claim comes in, you're well past that event. You have to either go reconstruct it, and a lot of that information may be lost because of retention policies, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
When you,
that would be one. I think the other one I would talk about
okay.
is really bringing AI into the fold here, and in a couple different ways. One is with natural language processing. So all of the communication that's happening in ALO, whether it's push to talk or group chat, all in channels, the way teams like to communicate. All of that information gets transcribed into text. So you have an immense amount of data and visibility in real time. If you miss a communication, you can still read it. Or if you're working on a headset because you're guest facing, you hear everything that's going on. So that, you have that data. It's also, it enables the language translation, right? So that you can, and whether that's guest to staff, it can be staff to staff too. We see a lot of, certain staff that English is not their native language in the US. They can communicate in their native language, and you cut down on, miscommunications. But then there's also AI from a process and automation perspective, and that's a big part of our long-term vision. If a guest reports something in ALO, we have the ability to parse that, understand what type of issue that is, and get it to the right person automatically. We take a huge amount of load off of the dispatch function while still maintaining visibility and accountability to getting those things resolved. So
Yeah.
that brings a huge amount of operational effectiveness and efficiency.
If we're going to get some interest from this podcast for some venues that are interested in ALO, who would you want to meet with and those prospective organizations to do a demonstration and to be involved? Who do you want there?
Yeah, what we've found is where we have the most success, and where we've had implementations, are people that really have a forward-thinking, innovative mindset, and that tends to come from the general manager, the head of security, the head of guest services, the people that are really responsible for how do we run this venue most effectively while also delivering the highest levels of guest experience, fan experience, security, safety, and operational efficiency.
Yep. You use the word operational a lot today. So we talked about being operational system with all the data. What integrations have you done to enable that, and what integrations are next?
Yeah, so
It's a big question.
no, let me address the data piece first
Yeah.
before I get into the integrations, because I think there's two pieces here. Certainly from a data perspective, we have a lot of analytics internally around reporting, around understanding issues that are happening in certain areas of your venue. So we can map where all of the issues are. So you can see hotspots. You can do analytics after the fact of where you are seeing continuing challenges or repeated, whether it's, this restroom, we keep having a water in this restroom, game after game after game, there's something that needs to be solved here. Or we've got a certain section that has a repeated fan behavior issues or ejections. Let's address that in a more comprehensive way. So that's kind of the data that is within ALO. But then we believe there's certainly external. So VMS we talked about already, right? Your surveillance video, your CCTV is some of the key eyes into the venue. So we integrate with key vendors so that you can clip video, share it. So get it to the person that is on the ground dealing with that issue, so they have the definitive view of what happened, so they can deal with it correctly. It can get associated with the incident report, so you have that full view, and you've got that documentation for down the road already done at the time that it happened. And you can even share it securely externally to, say, law enforcement or your general counsel or your insurance company, whomever needs to see that in a secure fashion. So we really supercharge your security video. But then I think, I think down the road, there's all kinds of things that we would integrate with. Some of these new weapons detection systems where you would want to kick an alert every time you see a detection happen, just for visibility or managing by exception.
Yeah.
We need eyes on that. So I'm gonna stay on top of that, or I need an alert to my head of security every time this type of detection happens. Some of these frictionless entry systems that are happening now, or facial recognition systems that we're seeing happen, where you can start doing some really intelligent things around when certain, say, high value season ticket holders come into the venue. Can you give them a special experience if it's in a system that can automatically dispatch that to the right guest services member, for example? CRM ticketing system, so that you have more information about the guest that is reporting an issue or that is coming into the venue, and even things like staff management systems, so you can just make the usage of ALO even more easy to happen in the venue. And then there are many more down the road. Any data that is happening in your venue should be logged, dispatched, analyzed by ALO.
No question. I've talked to you quite a bit, and one statement you made in the past was, I heard you talk about creating autonomous public facilities. Can you describe what you're thinking of the future here? This is phenomenal.
Yeah. So as we talked about, we have this system that has all of these different capabilities that are key to running a venue. That's kind of table stakes, because you have to have all of the data in one place. Then the shift to autonomous operation is really enabled. And so we're only really scratching the surface of that today with, as I described it, AI dispatch. This really, revolutionizes how an incident can be managed, because it can get issues directly to the staff doing the work. When there's a restroom cleanliness issue, it doesn't have to go through a dispatcher the way it does today, radioed to the right person. It just goes directly to the housekeeping staff member who is responsible for that restroom to solve. But there's still, again, a record of it and the accountability that it got resolved, or that it's still open and something needs to happen. And that takes me to my second piece, which is really this ability to manage by exception, rather than, I think that the way that things are done today is, if you're managing a venue and you're trying to have a very high level of service, you really have to micromanage. You're constantly listening to what's happening on the radio. You are walking around to keep eyes on everything. It's quite overwhelming. It's very challenging. I mean, I remember early in our iteration, I talked to somebody who ran a large guest services at a large Major League Baseball facility, and they said, I can't even listen to the radio. It's too much, right? So I just walk around to see what's happening and talk to my supervisors. Well, if you now have the ability to view what's happening on video, to see all of the information of audio and chat, because it's transcribed and being analyzed, you can start actually doing things like, let's go back to that restroom example. This was reported. I see the staff member, the video sees the staff member going to the restroom with a mop. The video sees the staff member leaving the restroom with a mop and a bucket. That has been done. It's been completed. So now I've got this ability to get real-time alerts, track completion, and I really only have to intervene when necessary. And that's the key, is let's empower staff to focus on the things that need intervention, human judgment, and particular care, that are critical issues. and take a lot of that sort of various and sundry everyday issues that still have to be completed, but out of that chain of command. Because today we treat a housekeeping issue or a guest services issue the same as we treat a medical issue or a security issue from a reporting and communication perspective, certainly not from an attention perspective. And that's the challenge.
The challenge. Jeremy, I think there'll be several venues that want to contact you after this podcast. How do they contact you?
Well, email always works. Jeremy at ALO.AI. Certainly, you can check out our website, simple ALO.AI. We have a form there where you can submit your interest in a demo, but have them reach out directly to me. We're always happy to talk to any venue that wants to hear about our innovative solution and see how they can really change and revolutionize the way they're running their venue, the way they're delivering guest, high levels of guest experience, the way they're working in a data-driven fashion to really improve what they're doing, and over time, building an autonomous facility.
Autonomous public facility. Well, just say facility, it could be private as well, right? Listen, what can I say, Jeremy? Your innovation is affecting the future of the fan experience. I thank you for coming on the podcast today with me. I enjoyed it very much. And good luck down the road.
Thank you for having me. It's a very exciting time in the industry, particularly with all these things coming to the U.S. But I think post-COVID, as entertainment has opened up, fans have come back with, frankly, a higher expectation in terms of experience and levels of service. Now is a really exciting time that we're seeing a lot of innovation happening, and we're excited to be part of it.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy.